Hi everyone, welcome to Gateway API meeting for September 30th, 2025. As always, this is a Kubernetes meeting, so we are all agree to abide by the Kubernetes Code of Conduct, which, loosely translated is be nice to one another. So we got a pretty light agenda so far. I'd really encourage anybody who has anything they want to ask about or talk about to add it into the agenda. Otherwise, there's a couple of things that I'll add on as we go. Um, Yeah, thanks folks for adding yourselves to the attendees list. Much appreciated. Yeah, but I guess most important thing to talk about first is release 1.4. It looks like we are mostly done now. We have RC2. Shane has released RC2. And so assuming that no one finds any other things in the next day or two, then we should have version 1.4 out in the next couple of days. So I just wanted to quickly go through some of the changes for anyone who hasn't been paying attention. Um, and so folks can ask any other questions they have. So yeah, please feel free to cut me off here if there's anything you want to ask about or if you have any questions. So this is the changelog for version 1.4. As always, it's in the changelog directory in the repo. The biggest changes that we've had since uh, 1.4 RC1 have just been we've had an awesome amount of really great development of conformance tests, fixing problems with conformance tests, and a few other things, fixing up other things. So absolutely outstanding effort. Much appreciated from everyone here. Um, yeah, but the big changes are still we made a couple of breaking changes, but we've done five sort of big changes. A backend TLS policy is moving to standard. Supported features is moving to standard. We've added the mesh resource, which is actually an X mesh resource because it's in the experimental still. The support for default gateways has come in experimental, and we've added the structs to be able to handle external auth for HTTP route. In addition to that, we've also made some changes to the TLS settings on the gateway. Those are basically breaking changes as well. So I think we need to make sure we call them out in the changelog. So yeah, that's the big changes. I think there's a lot of other small changes. Uh, hopefully, if you were waiting on change, it got in. Yeah, I'll stop there for a sec. Any questions from anyone or anything else anyone wants to talk about with respect to the changelogs? Nope. Okay, cool. Well, the next, so thank you to whoever dropped that in. Much appreciated. Yeah, CFP for KubeCon EU does close very soon. So folks need to get their CFPs in if you have something you want to talk about. If you do want to talk about something to do with Gateway API and you would like someone to review your submission, then please feel free to hit me up on Slack. I'm at Young Nick there. I'm always happy to review folks' submissions and offer some feedback. Okay, so well, yeah, we've got to the end of the agenda extremely quickly today. So there's a couple of things I did want to call out. I see you're here today, Rose. Great to see you. And I did want to call out though that I know you have that the Docs PR open that I have not looked at that I promised you I would. I am really sorry about that. I've been spending my limited Gateway API time on release 1.4 stuff for the moment. But I'm really looking forward to taking a look at it because it looks like a great change.
Um, so I have also been completely essentially not thinking about this for over a month. So I think perfect timing.
Outstanding. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I definitely want to look at that. I think we have had a couple of Ricardo and I have been chatting on Slack about some other stuff to do with generating the specification docs that I think yeah, it looks like we're going to need to spend some time on generating those specification docs to make it a little bit better. But
Mhm.
I think it seems increasingly clear to me that it's likely that we may need to move to versioning the whole site somehow. There's a
Yeah,
few
I
ways
think
you
that would
can
be
do it.
great, actually. Like, because right now we're just switching everything like on the fly, but we don't really have a way to organize it, and it gets really confusing.
Yes, it does. Ricardo?
Yeah, sorry. So as you mentioned my name, I've put a PR today, I guess, me and Marvin taking a look for the API ref. So we are adding experimental tags on fields that are still experimental on the API ref.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able also to remove things that are on the remove from CRD tag, you know.
Outstanding.
Yeah, so and I'm also happy to review Rose's PR. I'm just, jumping between things. My Python is not great, but I will try to take a look tomorrow as well.
Awesome. Yeah, that's fantastic. And yeah, look, just having a very quick look at that PR, Ricardo, that looks great. I'll have a look at that today. Yeah, I've got a big PR pass to do today. So I will make sure I check that as one of
No rush.
them. Yeah. Please feel free to put some any more notes in there about those, both of you. Okay. Well, I mean, again, please feel free to add things, folks. I have some things that I have been thinking about for a while, that I'd like to put out into the world and then let folks have a think about them. One of them is about TCP route and UDP route. Since we're moving into a new release cycle soon, yeah, I'd like to get everyone to have a think about these. Right now, the place we're at is those are still experimental because no one has done the work to like answer the unanswered questions. But I think that the other reason that they're still experimental is that a lot of folks don't know what the unanswered questions are. So I have been thinking that I will probably spend sometime in the next probably month or so, to write up the GEP, provisional GEP for sort of writing down where TCP route and UDP route are at and what the unanswered questions are as to why we haven't been able to move them forwards. I mean, I think there's two reasons. Number one, there's some confusion over the spec or some questions over how useful they actually are. And number two, we don't have any conformance tests. And I think the reason we don't have any conformance tests is because of the first thing. So so I'd like to sort of push that forward a little bit by what I have found in the past is when there is confusion about things, having someone go in and write down the problems is a great way to get things started, because then other people can pick up those problems and actually do something about them. So I'm going to try and get some of these thoughts out of my head where they've been sitting for a long time, and get them somewhere where they can be useful to other folks. In a similar vein, Ricardo, I really wanted to say thanks for writing down, starting the TLS route gap, so that we can hopefully look at moving TLS route to standard in v1.5. I would really like to see it move to standard in 1.5. The other thing that the other reason that all of this is becoming more important is that we've been talking a lot about versioning amongst the maintainers, about how we manage versions. I think so I just need to check the meeting notes from last time that I couldn't make, but I think that Flynn and Rob talked a little bit about this last time. Let me just scroll down, sorry. Yeah, so Flynn dropped a doc about next release stuff. So it's probably important for us to I may just spend a bit of a moment to walk through that. One of the reasons that I've been thinking a lot about the stuff we have remaining in alpha and beta in the standard API group is that we really would like to try and move towards having a much more stark division between experimental and standard, so that it's much harder to accidentally end up using experimental stuff, because we can't make breaking changes to things that people have accidentally ended up using because we didn't stop you from doing it. So yeah, a large part of the reason for us pushing forward with making experimental, it's going to effectively make experimental a little harder to use because we want people to know that they are opting into experimental rather than finding a sample online and using a field that turns out to be experimental and then not realizing it. Yeah, we really want people to have to take definite action to be using the experimental channel, even if you've got the experimental YAMLs installed in the cluster. The end goal here is that it becomes more safe to try out things in a cluster without necessarily impacting the production stuff. That is a very hard problem because CRDs have a single version, and they're a singleton version, and you cannot have multiple conflicting schemas for any given CRD. So you have to have them in different API groups and with different kinds. We've been spending a lot of time thinking and talking about ways that we can try and improve this in the long run. But it's pretty likely that some of the nice properties about what we have will go away. One of those nice properties being that if you are using an experimental feature and it graduates to standard today, then that experimental feature graduating to standard has no effect on you. You don't need to do anything. You just get the confidence that that experimental feature will no longer break. We'll know there's no chance of it having a backwards incompatible change made. And so because of that sort of problem, we haven't been able to make many breaking changes to experimental things once they started being used. We also have a lot of hanging around experimental things that we just have never pushed forward. TLS route is a great example there. I don't think anyone really disagrees with where TLS route is at, but where no one has done the stuff to push it forward to finish it off. The same with the reference grant. Reference grant is currently beta because we were hoping to be able to do something in upstream to make reference grant more widely usable. But when we took it upstream, some folks pointed out that there was a lot of other utility in a more generic concept, but the more generic concept was way harder to work with, and so it ended up stalling. So I think that it's likely that in 1.5, I'm also going to push for someone to move reference grant to standard fully because we haven't made any changes to it for a long time, and it is still in the beta, in a beta version, and I would like it not to be. Again, all of these things are sort of aimed at being able to have a really clear division between experimental and standard, so that we can do stuff like Flynn talks about in this document. One of the biggest things is we would like to start doing experimental channel releases monthly. So that's we would like to start doing those monthly, where we're doing like a monthly, like nightly build style, but at a monthly cadence, where we're taking whatever's in main and snapshotting that and being like, this is a monthly release. In order for that to work, there's a lot of different like moving parts that we need to make work. So we are talking a lot about this. We're trying to figure out ways to make this so that it's doable for both implementations and for users, but with the idea being that part of the safety rails that we'll need to have here is that if you're installing the monthly snapshots, then there will be stuff you will need to do to be able to use the new fields. I think everyone should have a read of this doc. It's a great doc. Flynn has worked really hard on it and taken a lot of feedback already. So yeah, please everyone have a look at that and have a chat about that. I'd say probably next week post-release as we start ramping up the version 1.5 release team. Now, Flynn is the release manager for the 1.5 release. So we're working on having we're also working on making the release manager role be much easier for a non-maintainer to be able to do, so that we don't need a maintainer to be the release manager. So yeah, lots of stuff like that going on in the background. Yep. Rose.
So where can we see this link or
this one, the release
Yeah.
changes doc? Yes. So it is currently in the previous meeting notes. I will drop it in.
Oh,
I'll
okay.
drop it in the current one. Okay, and yeah, just let me put that in the chat. Thanks, Ben. Good point. So that, yeah, I just dropped the link to Flynn's release changes doc in the chat. And just in case anyone else didn't have the meeting notes open, the second link is the meeting notes. Okay, yeah, so Rose, thanks for putting the item in there. This is, Rose is going to be working on overhauling the docs. And with thinking about, thinking about how we can restructure the docs. I think our docs are, I feel like our docs are like not terrible for an open source project, but they are the epitome of the organically grown docs. And so there's a lot of great information in there, but it's hard to find. And it's not structured that someone who is new to the project can find things easily, and a few other things like that. But we have worked really hard to make sure that there is actually documentation there, but it can always be improved. So yeah, this is Rose's issue. Rose, do you want to walk through?
Yeah, so I know I've already brought this up a few times now. The new things. I was saying this in Slack a little bit, but my plan right now with this is probably like, okay, I'm gonna try to come with maybe like a page written every once in a while, and then people have something to respond to. I know that like I'm still learning Gateway API, so there's going to be like a lot of things where people are going to have a lot of input on, but I think, yeah. And if anyone that has like capacity to just start looking at that as those start coming in after we finish this excuse me, Python hook and integrating it into our existing build system with like the make script and yeah. Oh, something I also need a little help on is I'm not sure how the whole build process for the docs works currently. I know we're like generating all of these gaps and how I need to make sure that like we generate all of the files first, then we run the Python script, or it's not gonna like actually work.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think yeah, right. I think Ricardo has done some changes recently to how that works. So it's probably worth Ricardo, if you can find that link and drop it in the chat, I'll put it in the meeting notes again, or put it in the meeting notes. That would be great. So yeah, recently Ricardo has changed the TOC generation that generates the table of contents and the menus, so that the gaps will be automatically put in the right levels. Previously, we were having to make that change manually, and people always forgot.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool. So yeah, I think yeah, that one. Thank you, Ricardo. This is the PR here. I will put it in the meeting notes. So this one actually uses the metadata.yamls that we created to actually build the TOC properly.
Oh yeah, this is kind of like very
Yeah.
similar to what I was doing. Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for this.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and feel free to ping me on Slack if I am not available. I'm usually whole day on Slack, so
Yeah. Yeah, so please, yeah, reach out to Ricardo or to me if there's if you have questions on this, because yeah, I really want to see this. I'm going to review this one today, Ricardo. I'm really excited about it, to be honest.
I have screenshots on the bottom.
Yeah, it looks really good. It looks way better. I was thinking that that although we probably need a custom template for it, I would like to see us move the default and the validation to like the top part of the field, because I think that taking up a whole column for that and making the description way harder to read is probably not ideal. But that requires a custom template written for this generator. So
yeah, we are already using custom template, but
okay, great.
It's harder to get this what you want. I will explain you later. but it's
Yeah, okay,
because of
cool, cool.
the way of the type docs and the structures of Go.
Right, okay, yep. Okay, awesome. Yeah, okay. As always, the tools dictate much of what we do. Um, yep. Okay. So yeah, there's a few things there. Yeah, I think probably the two key things are, yeah, keep an eye out for the final release of v 1.4 very soon. The A couple of things that are relevant there is that we will, once the final release comes out, we will start working on a oh, thank you. um we'll start working on a blog post talking about the big changes. We will publish that about a month after the release comes out, so that implementations have a chance to get their changes in, so that folks can try the things that they read out. Yeah, so I think yeah, like feature owners, GEP owners should expect to get pinged by Shane to sort of start contributing to a blog post doc that will walk folks through some of the changes, why we made them, what they do, how you can use them, that sort of thing. I think we've got a few changes that will definitely need some explanation, like the default gateways, like the external auth thing, like the backend TLS policy, and the other TLS changes. Yeah, there's quite a few things that will need reasonably extensive documentation and explanation. So yeah, please keep an eye out for that. Well, yeah, with that, I've talked an awful lot. Does anyone else have anything they want to talk about before we finish up? Okay. That feels like probably enough silence. Thank you everyone for coming. Sorry it was a light agenda meeting today, but yeah, we will see you all I'll see you all in a couple of weeks. Thanks very much for your time. And yeah, see you all around.